After the Iranian missile attacks on Israel, what could happen next? Will this conflict escalate and force other Arab countries to intervene? And will there be a direct impact on our daily lives, gas prices, investments in your country and tourism, Israel and economic developments? After the Iranian missile attacks that targeted vital areas in Israel, the pressure on the Israeli economy has increased unprecedentedly. Local news from Yedioth Ahronoth says that the attacks not only caused damage to some infrastructure, but also caused panic in the Israeli financial markets, which fell by 10% in one day. As the economy under siege. After the attacks, the sectors like high-tech and tourism are witnessing significant losses, and military spending has increased dramatically. Impact on the local market. The suffering of Israeli consumers has increased due to partial power outages and rising fuel prices as a result of regional tensions. The situation in Lebanon, rising internal tensions following the escalation of the conflict. Lebanon, which is already suffering from a stifling economic crisis, the situation has become more difficult after the escalation of Israeli bombing of border areas with Lebanon, which has led to the destruction of some vital facilities in the south. Impact on daily life. The An-Nahar newspaper says that these attacks have caused a state of anxiety among the population, many of whom have started fleeing to safe areas at a time when the economic crisis had already strangled the country. International sanctions, Lebanese support for Hezbollah, which is participating in the conflict, could expose Lebanon to greater economic sanctions from the West. And this will worsen the situation with the possibility of a further decline in the value of the Lebanese currency and inflation reaching unprecedented levels. The situation in Jordan, a larger refugee situation and threats on the border. After the Iranian attacks, the Jordanian newspaper Al Rai confirmed that Jordan is trying to control the flow of refugees entering from the Syrian and Israeli borders. Jordan is now caught between the repercussions of the conflict, especially since all parties consider the Jordanian border a strategic gateway. The economic situation in Jordan may face a larger budget deficit, especially with the increase in internal security expenses after the Iranian attacks on Israel. This will affect economic growth, which is expected to fall to less than 1% next year amid security costs and declining investments. The situation in Egypt, new challenges for tourism and investment. After the Iranian attacks on Israel, the Egyptian newspaper Al Ahram says that foreign investors have become increasingly concerned, and this could have a significant impact on the flow of foreign investments in vital sectors such as energy and infrastructure. The tourism situation in Egypt. Egypt was expecting a partial recovery in the tourism sector after the corona pandemic, but the escalation in the region threatens to disrupt tourism from Europe, which was a major source of income for this sector. Price increases tensions are also driving up oil import costs, which could lead to higher fuel prices locally and more pressure on citizens. Iran is a winner and loser at the same time. After the Iranian attacks, the Iranian newspaper Kayhan published official statements saying that these attacks are considered a strategic response to Western pressure and Israeli support for hostile parties. But at the same time, international sanctions on Iran are increasing, and this will have a significant impact on foreign trade. Oil prices. Despite the sanctions, the rise in oil prices after the Iranian attacks is in Iran's interest as an oil exporting country, which could benefit from this crisis to reap greater revenues with the escalating global demand for energy. Economic sanctions on Iran. On the other hand, tensions are leading to additional losses due to the new sanctions that may prevent it from dealing with vital markets in the West, in addition to internal political and economic pressures. Oil and gas prices and the crazy increases. After the Iranian attacks, the Sharq al-Awsat newspaper, which specializes in energy markets, confirmed that oil prices rose by more than 15% in 1 week after the bombing, amid fears of disruption of oil supplies from the Arabian Gulf. Natural gas prices have also increased significantly, leading to expectations that energy costs in Europe and Asia will rise sharply during the coming winter. The effects of this increase are reflected on consumers in all countries of the world, who will pay higher prices for fuel and energy-related products. With each passing day, this conflict is escalating more and more, and it is not only affecting the warring parties, but the economies of the entire region, from the Gulf to Egypt to Lebanon, will be affected. Everyone will pay the price, and the rising oil prices will put the peoples of the world all under greater pressure. Is the world ready for these economic repercussions? Share your opinions with us.